welcome to Espresso with Saul. Today, we're going to address my FK BRNO. Now, we're not going to be talking about the 10mm barrels or the 9mm barrels. We're only going to be discussing the FK BRNO with its 7.5 FK round. So what's an FK BRNO, you might ask? Well, it's a new single action auto-loading double stacked handgun. It has a 5.3 inch barrel, and it looks kind of funky, and upon checking it out when I got it, I've never fired this before. I had an opportunity with Roy and I never took him up on it. I should have. But anyway, it has a weighted front end of the barrel here. It kind of feels a little not quite balanced, but supposedly they did that for recoil control. So we're going to take it out and see how that works on it. Now, the other thing about this is a single action autoloader, and it does not have your typical palm safety. It does, however, have a manual safety here on the side, and with that, you can carry it cocked and locked like you would any other single action autoloader. Now, the other thing about this pistol that I was noticing after I got it was the trigger pull. Now, most single action autoloaders, the trigger pull is just exquisite. Some are better than others, but most of the time they're not all that crunchy, and they go off very smooth. This one actually feels like more of a double to single action trigger pull, even though it's single action only. So you take the slop up. See all that slop in your single action trigger? And then when you squeeze the trigger, there's still a little bit more play in there before it goes off. So I'm not 100% impressed with the trigger on it, but we're going to have to take it out and just see how it performs. Now, one other thing about this pistol, I added this Trijicon RMR to it. It doesn't come with it, but it does come cut, or at least some of them come pre-cut to add different types of optics to the top. So if you're into that like I am, they certainly help me shoot better. I mentioned it's a double stack magazine, so it actually holds 16 plus 1 rounds of 7.5 FK. Now, what's 7.5 FK? Well, here's a box of it right here, and when you read on the box, it says, out of a 6-inch barrel, you have a 101 grain solid copper bullet that travels at 1950 feet per second. Well, that's screaming. That gets my attention really quick. One of the reasons why I purchased this, and one of the reasons why this round was developed. I do have another box on order. I believe it's a 95 grain hollow point. I don't have that yet. It's probably going to take me a couple more weeks, and I don't want to wait that long. I want to go out and test this out. Now, let me show you the FK round. This is the 7.5 FK, and it is a flat nose solid copper bullet, and it sits in a 10mm casing, I believe, that's been necked down to 7.5. Well, let's see what this looks like compared to other standard rounds that I'm sure you're familiar with. Here's your 9mm. Here's your 10mm. Here's a 357 Magnum round. Here's a 44 Magnum round. And here's another high-speed round on the end, the 5.7 by 28. Well, I'm excited to take this out on the range and see how she performs. Join me, will you? And we'll be out here shortly. See you out there. Welcome back to Espresso with Saul. Today we're going to be shooting my FK BRNO. I think it's pronounced Maybe it's FK by a vowel. By the way, bear with me if you hear gunfire in the background. We are at an outdoor range. This is a new purchase of mine, and I have never fired it. So join me today in my first initial shots. We're going to see how far off it is and sight it in for you, and just give you my overall initial perspective of what it's like to own an FK BRNO. Okay, here's my FK BRNO, and I don't have a holster for this yet, so we're just going to be working out of our pockets Paul style with it. I'm very close. I'm here, what am I, 7 or 8 yards away. Hopefully we'll be on target. I don't think it's going to be that far off. Let's take a look. Well, doesn't look like it's that far off at all. We'll make a minor adjustment here and get right back to you. Okay, let's see how the adjustment works out. All right. I think we're going to have to work ourselves back just a little bit. And also, this sun glare is atrocious right now. So let's move the target somewhere else. I think we're close. I'm not going to make any adjustments at this point in time. And yes, it's on the safety right now. But we're going to go ahead and unload it, move some things around, and try shooting just a little bit more. Okay, we've moved the target. Hopefully, now the glare won't be too bad. And I can see where we're at. I'm about 12 or 13 yards away. And let's see how it hits on the target. Hopefully, I don't need to make very much more corrections or adjustments. Well, that's the end of that magazine. Let's take a little closer look. Well, what it tells you with the initial impression is I'm good for windage. I'm not very good for holding it with a steady group yet. I think we need to get some more range time. That's definitely for sure. All right, let's shoot a few more at this target, verify that we're actually somewhat on, and maybe we can play with the spinners a little bit. Okay, we have 3 more magazines to run through and see how she performs. I appear to be shooting to the left a little bit. I think it's the angle to which I'm standing on this hill slightly. I'm not going to adjust the sights whatsoever. I think that's just the way I'm looking at things right now. So let's go ahead and try out these other 2 remaining magazines. Are you kidding me? Same crap. Interesting. You know, I think we're going to pasty that up and get right back with you. Okay, let's see how we do against these plates. I don't know. There we go. All right. That wasn't so bad. I think we're close. Huh. Failure to feed. Failure to feed. Failure to feed. Is this that magazine that I marked earlier? No, it isn't. Interesting. Well, not overly impressed at this point. Huh. Did that not eject the round? I don't know. Or was that just a failure to fire? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Huh. Look at that. We have a primer strike, and this round did not go off. Mildly disappointed. I was looking forward to this. I do think that we have her sighted incorrectly. Or incorrectly, not incorrectly. Hold it. Bring that camera forth. I want to see if we're actually penetrating these metal targets. Oh, nope. They aren't penetrating them, but wow. Leaving a nice indentation on them, that's for sure. Interesting. Okay, about another 2.5 magazines to go. Failure to feed. Oh. Yes. I think this is the magazine that I marked. Okay. That makes sense. Failure to feed. Yeah, I think this magazine is toast. Huh. Failure to feed. Yeah, I could. I'm not going to use this magazine anymore. All right. 2 more. Let's hope these work. Failure to feed. Are you kidding me? Well, I'm not having very much fun with this, that's for sure. I just half expect that to not feed. Not good if I have to check every round. There we go. Hey, we made it through the magazine. One more. Huh. Painful. Okay, we made it through a magazine. I didn't perform particularly well, but that actually worked that time, so good. Well, let's pack it up and discuss our conclusion. Okay, we're back at the kitchen. That was underwhelming to say the least, but before I go on, why don't I have a shot of espresso here? Why don't we do that? Yep, once again, I've already ground it up. Well, I think we're at a number 9 grind lately for about 9.8 seconds. For what it's worth, if you're keeping score. All right, grab myself a shot here. Boy, we had some fantastic weather lately. I fear that's come to an end for at least a week, maybe 2. You never know around here. We might have 2 months of rain, but typically we'll have a few days in between that aren't too bad. All right, that is looking fantastic. Well, let me tell you something. I did end up calling Roy Harrell, Paul's brother, and had a little talk with him, but let me show you this shot of espresso first. Look at that. Isn't that great? And apparently he's been having some issues too, and we've come to the conclusion that we believe it's magazine related. And that's really kind of sad. When this firearm has a lot of potential, and I'm not ready to just throw it in the trash can yet or do what Paul does and just shoot them. No, I don't think it's the firearm at all. I think whoever's making the magazines for them, I think their quality control is subpar, to say the least. I think out of the 6 magazines that I have, I know I had one. I think I've got 2 good magazines. I think I've got 2 and that's it. But the other conclusion that the other information that I got from Roy is it is primarily those flat-nosed rounds that we're having problems with. Apparently, the hollow points and some of the other ones still work pretty darn good out of these magazines. So we'll see. Maybe it is a combination of lax quality control on the magazines and the flat nose bullets. But when I've got 2 boxes coming in. When I get those in, we're going to take it back out. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and we're going to use all 6 magazines that I have, and we're just going to fill them up and shoot them. So, oh, I did neglect to mention one other thing about this firearm, if you're considering it. The ammo is not cheap. It's about $2 a round. I'm getting boxes of 50 for around $80, but then they charge me for shipping. Now, obviously, if you buy more, you can get, the shipping cut down a little bit. But still, yes, you're almost $2 a round. It is pretty darn expensive. So keep that in mind if you're considering this. And let's take it out again here in a couple weeks, and maybe we'll give you a little bit of an update on it. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on Espresso with Saul. Bye-bye now.